Some really sad news came out a few days ago that Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere passed away after what is suspected to be an OD. But what's very interesting about this story, and a lot of people have been asking me to look into this, is that apparently before she passed away, she was looking to expose some very powerful people in Hollywood and some very creepy, just awful behavior. And I don't know exactly what happened. We haven't got to the full bottom of it yet, but it's another very strange case where somebody is exposing powerful men for doing horrible things and suddenly they're no longer with us. Now, I don't know whether that's because living with the trauma of going through some of these things and dealing with some of these people is just too much to bear, or is something else going on entirely. I don't know, but I'm going to break it all down to you in this video and you can kind of tell me what you think of this. But this was the news of Hayden's tragic passing as it came out just a couple of days ago.
We begin with breaking news rocking Hollywood tonight. Actress Hayden Panettiere, known for her roles on hit shows like Heroes and Nashville, has died at the age of 36. Fans around the world are now mourning the sudden loss of another young star. Thanks for joining us tonight. For the news at 11, I'm Liz Nagy.
And I'm Joy Rand. We took the news down to Hollywood Boulevard to get reaction of fans tonight. Many who we caught up with were shocked and saddened by the news.
She's so young, and she's such an amazing talent. She's one of those talents that you want to see grow old. You want to see them grow into their craft. I'm a little bit shocked. I think it's settling in now, and I'm a little bit lost for words. I cannot believe that. Makes no sense to me.
Honestly, I was really sad. I used to do cheerleading, so she kind of inspired me to do that and get into that. So finding this out, especially because she was so young, is very upsetting. She was an inspiration, especially for my generation, to many girls and young girls, for what she's done, and especially being an actor and, again, a cheerleader. It's just dying at such a young age is really upsetting.
Hayden Panettiere was just 10 years old when she stole our hearts in Remember the Titans.
Got 11 offers and certainly no time for you.
Then she grew up right alongside her audience as a typical teen in Ice Princess.
I want to go to the homecoming dance.
And on the cheer mat in Bring It On All or Nothing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Keeping her pom-poms in Heroes.
This is the single coolest thing to happen to this town in like 100 years.
Not if nobody finds out it's not.
But perhaps no role hit closer to home than Juliette Barnes. The troubled, ambitious country star on Nashville earned Panettiere 2 Golden Globe nominations.
Be nice.
Oh, I'm always nice.
But years later, she revealed some of Juliette's darkest storylines felt painfully familiar.
I'd been struggling for a long time.
In a 2022 interview with Good Morning America, Panettiere opening up about her own battles with alcoholism and postpartum depression.
When you see a happy-go-lucky girl for years suddenly on the floor in a puddle of mess and alcohol, you got to know something's wrong.
Then in 2023, her younger brother Jansen died suddenly at just 28, a loss that became part of her own story, one Panettiere finally told this year in her memoir, This Is Me, A Reckoning. Sunday night, her representative confirming Panettiere died at just 36. No details yet on how she died, her father remembering her as an incredible light and a force of nature. She leaves behind her daughter, 11-year-old Kaya, and a generation of fans who watched her grow up while they did too.
So she passed away so incredibly young. She had an 11-year-old daughter. It's just not making sense. And what made her death particularly shocking is that just 3 months before this, Hayden had talked about some extremely disturbing experiences that she said happened to her as a young actress. So I just want to give you a trigger warning. Some of what's going to be discussed is pretty dark here. And, you know, if you don't want to hear about these themes to do with, you know, sort of abuse in Hollywood, you might want to turn off this video. I'm just telling you guys this stuff for educational, documentary, and journalistic purposes, okay? It's in the public interest, and I condone, all right, her speaking out, and I condemn the people that did this to her, right? If that makes sense. So it says, watch, Hayden Panettiere says she was 18 when a woman she trusted as a protect her took her below deck on a yacht and physically put her in bed beside an undressed, very famous man. By the time I realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea. She physically put me in bed next to this undressed man who was very famous. My hair stood on end. I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. I bolted and hid wherever I could think to hide on a boat. There was no jumping off and swimming away. When you really find somebody that you trust, you hold on to them for dear life. So to be betrayed like that is an awful feeling. This is sounding like how Ghislaine Maxwell was doing these girls. She was getting trust, and then she would put them in compromising positions for Jeffrey Epstein. This was just a few months before her passing, from what I understand.
I was 18, even though I'd lived such a huge life and I thought I was so mature at 18, scientifically, her frontal lobes don't develop until we're 26. So even though I felt like I could make healthy decisions, safe decisions, I wasn't capable of being fully aware of what was going on around me. And it wasn't until I found myself in predicaments that I realized, like, my perspective completely shifted, and I realized that I was in danger. But by the time I'd realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea. And it was that moment shook me and was shocking. And I was quite literally walked down, and I had been having a great time. There was no hints of anything like that happening. So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise. And it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous and had his hands like this, like this was just, an average day for him. This is something that happens all the time. And I waited for her to leave. And I mean, that lion in me, that fire in me, that my hair stood on end, and I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. But I had nowhere to hide, and I bolted, and I hid wherever I could think of to hide on a boat. There was no jumping off and swimming away, and there was nobody who was going to. I realized that there was nobody who was going to be empathetic to my situation. That this was nothing new to them.
I mean, it's such a horrifying event to go through, and to be put in that position at 18 years old.
And disappointing when somebody lets you down like that. And I'd been let down so much before, and that when you really find somebody that you trust, like, you hold on to them for dear life.
It's so sad, and I really would like to know who this man was. So there's another clip going around, from a podcast a few months before she passed away, where she said she had a lot more to live. She didn't seem like somebody that was ready to, check out and end things, and it's all a bit suspicious.
I finally feel like I have shaken off all of this darkness and this negativity, and that means that I've closed one door and another door is opened, and I can feel it opened, and I can feel all the possibility, the possibilities, all the exciting possibilities. I feel like I have a lot more life to live.
It just doesn't make sense, right? So there was some more reporting, basically after she passed away, but essentially there was reporting that kind of looked back at some of the relationships she had, and this was basically Hayden Panettiere speaking out about her weird friendship with Real Housewife of Beverly Hills' Diana Jenkins in her book. Said she was just 19 and Diana was almost 50. So it says, Hayden spoke out about this weird friendship with Diana Jenkins just months before her tragic death at age 36. The friendship was brought back into the light following the release of Hayden's memoir in May this year, after Diana was forced to deny rumors surrounding her and and Hayden. The former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member was forced to deny claims that she was the friend who put a teenage Hayden Panettiere in bed with an undressed man who was very famous. Hayden made the claims in her memoir, claiming that an unnamed friend had betrayed her as a teenager, putting her in that situation with the man. Hayden later explained that there was a reason that she decided to not publicly name the person who had put her into bed with the man, telling the Hollywood Reporter, "It was a bad look for them, and the people I didn't name were generally people within my industry. They're people I could run into again. I didn't want to put myself in that position." Like, she doing this before she suddenly passes away unexpectedly is super sus. I'm not going to lie to you. Says things happened a long time ago, but it was to protect me and my company from being sued by some very pissed off famous people. As a result of the friend not being named, rumors immediately started circulating about who it could be, with people baselessly speculating it was Diana Jenkins. Diana and Hayden first met when she was just 19, Diana being almost 50. Now, she said in that interview clip that it happened when she was 18, so I'm thinking maybe it's not her, but obviously whoever it was definitely wouldn't want her talking about this. So Diana was almost 50. She recalled in her memoir, "Diana was almost 30 years older than me, and while I'd always been mature for my age, it's impossible to overlook an age difference that large. It was a weird friendship for sure, but as I stretched into my newfound adulthood, I had to see which relationship suited me on my own terms. At that moment, Diana seemed like she could give me everything I needed." This isn't the first time Diana has had to deny some false rumors about her, as she's dealt with speculation for over a decade that she once ran a secret call girl ring. The rumors all started as a result of her book, Room 23, which Diana published in 2009, featuring provocative pictures of Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes, George Clooney, and Hayden Panettiere, who was 20 at the time. The rumors then resurfaced again when Diana joined Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, with her saying in a confessional that the claims in her books was a catalogue of clients and call girls had been an offense of my character. She also sued the blogger who had falsely claimed she was an S-trafficker. I'm definitely not going to claim that, but that shit sounded crazy. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star clarified at the time that she was in no way linked to what happened to Hayden, with a rep for Diana Jenkins telling TMZ at the time, "Diana has had to deal with false online rumors before. Sadly, this is just another example of that. So let me be 100% clear about this. It's most certainly not Diana, and anyone who claims it is her will be sued. I'm not claiming it's her. I don't think it's her. It's not her. Please don't sue." During the book, Hayden recalled that she was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector down a set of stairs into a small room. She physically put me into bed next to this undressed man who was very famous. My hair stood on end. I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. She continued, "There was nowhere to hide. I bolted. I hid wherever I could think of to hide on a boat. There was no jumping off and swimming away. I realized that there was nobody who was going to be empathetic to my situation. This was nothing new to them." I was seeing people in comments on X talking about this is why rich guys have boats. The chicks can't escape. It's actually twisted. So everyone on Reddit has been trying to figure out who was involved. Obviously, Diana Jenkins is a name that's come up. Musician James Blunt has also been mentioned. Now, I don't want to get sued. I'm not saying I think that's them. I'm just going to report on the rumors that are currently swirling around. Unsubstantiated Reddit rumors, which I could not possibly confirm nor deny. So I really don't know, and I don't want to get sued, so I actually don't know. But let's just see what people say. This is an r/pop culture chat. And people are saying, "So glad people are bringing up Diana Jenkins. She was a friend of Epstein and a known madam. She needs to be looked into." I'm not saying that. This is just a public Reddit comment by Blonde Horror Bear 622. So if you're going to sue Blonde Horror Bear 622, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I can't confirm or deny any of these. This is just nonsense, all right? This is just nonsense on Reddit. Someone is saying, "Has anyone searched her in the files? It's just tried. She didn't come up, but hundreds of results for other Jenkinses did." They're saying probably redacted. I don't know if that's true. Is this the same woman on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? They're saying the ex-husband was an exec at Barclays Bank who also has ties to Epstein. I don't know if that's true. All right, this is just what people are saying on Reddit, right? So if you want to go sue these Redditors, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Clearly, these women's careers are still at risk for speaking out. This was 3 months ago, so it might be more than careers. Otherwise, they'd be naming names. It's like we've gotten nowhere with this. PDFs are running the country and still hold our cards in the media empire too. What's going on? Someone said, "I tried to go public and name the name of a guy that I had just met who attacked me in an enclosed space. I have literal full frontal video footage of him calling me a slur and lunging at me and taking my phone from me. I had no idea he was a trust fund baby with familial ties to the local judiciary as I was visiting the place from another state. As soon as I went public, I was hit with a protection order that I lost, and he's just filed a motion to have me pay his attorney fees, and I'm also facing criminal harassment charges. All the women who came to me in private with their own horrifying stories about him are completely silent. It's a shit show. The courts don't give a F about women." That is actually heartbreaking. Does anyone also remember Diana Jenkins' post on ONTD? ONTD? Is it Oh No You Didn't? Is that some sort of journal? It's a community on live journal focusing on celebrity gossip. I don't know if any of this is true. I'm not going to say any of this is true. Please if you want to sue anyone, sue the Redditors, all right? I'm just reading this publicly on Reddit. I can't believe Reddit would publicly host these comments. Because literally came here to mention this. DJ is an effing weirdo, has long been rumored to be providing underage, or I really hate this term, BL girls to yacht girls for extremely wealthy men. That's just some Reddit comment. I don't know. This could all be false. This could all be absolutely false. This is just unsubstantiated Reddit rumors. Someone says the initial rumors about this mostly entirely came from NT at Crazy Days and Nights. She sued him for defamation. Eventually they settled, but he was forced to retract the stuff he said about her and say he made it all up. So look, for the record, it looks like people are getting sued and they're saying that they made it all up. So these Redditors could be making everything up. I don't want a defamation suit. It sounds like some of the stuff, I'll be real with you, some of the stuff ain't adding up. The ages ain't adding up. So I'm thinking that it's not her, because they're saying that they met when she was 19, all right? And he said, I regret contributing to this false narrative, and I apologize to Diana and her family for any harm the statements may have caused. So some of these Redditors might need to apologize. Some of these Redditors might be getting lawsuits, but you're saying she could have done plenty of things, but it'd be surprising if she was willing to risk discovery if even like 20% of the stuff he said about her was true. That's a good point, all right? She put her money where her mouth was and took him to court, all right? Some people are saying that, it's hard to prove, but hey, all right, she basically got to the bottom of that situation. So I want to be careful, I don't want to get sued. It's adding like this is a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors with very little proof. Many of the why won't she name them? But when the women do in fact name them, it's a lying mean girl trying to ruin a good man's life, right? It says if she named them, they could sue her for defamation, especially if she have no evidence of it happening. Victims can't win either way. It's a lose-lose situation. So she was around 18 when Heroes was still around. Everyone wanted a piece of her because she was current and famous. Thank God she fought back and hid. Do people realize the enormous legal risk you take by naming names in these scenarios? You have no idea. This isn't something you just throw out, all right? Not much risk considering how difficult defamation cases were. Well, she won that one. She beat him up in that court case. So if defamation suits are so serious, clearly there must not have been actually proof. Because if he could have backed this up with proof, he wouldn't have gone out so sad like this. Okay, so it is what it is, right? This is so specific why people are being intentionally vague. Somewhere is going to see this and know who these people are and eventually come forward. It says, we're going backwards, put your thinking caps on and think really why so many women won't name names. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, all right? There's a lot going on with this. I'm going to be a little bit more careful because I don't want to get sued, all right? This is all just a bunch of nonsense. Couldn't possibly be true. I'll be real with you. I've not seen any concrete proof at this stage, but okay. It said Hayden Panettiere was revealed in the new memoir. The famous man she was put into bed with at 18 was a 30-something British singer-songwriter. Where was that mentioned? So it says she mentioned it on the Jay Shetty podcast. Very famous man. Towards the end of the trip, Panettiere says her friend approached her during dinner and asked her to come downstairs to meet somebody. Brought him in, discovered a famous 30-something British singer-songwriter shirtless in bed under sheets. Oh my God, I thought, is he naked under there? She writes, claiming her trusted friend whispered to her, I want you to get in bed with him before leaving them alone in the room. Though she writes she initially complied in shock, Panettiere said she immediately begun to mentally disconnect from the situation. My body no longer felt like my own. She said in years of being managed by adults in the entertainment industry, she was conditioned to trust people and suppress her instincts. As soon as the door click closed, my survival instinct kicked in. She says she told the man, look, I don't know what she said to you, but this is not going to happen before leaving the room. The actress says she quickly climbed out of bed, ran from the room, returned to her cabin where she booked a hotel and begun packing to leave the yacht. I felt like I'd been kicked in the face. It must have been a big-ass yacht. She had her own room. What the hell? She writes, adding the experience left her feeling used and deeply betrayed by someone she trusted. She confided in me, pampered me, and treated me like her best friend. I don't know for sure who this is. Okay? This is just absolute Reddit speculation saying James Blunt with pictures. All right? I have no proof. They're saying the woman on the right is Diana Jenkins. If you know, you know. I don't know. They're saying if you know, you know. I don't know anything. I don't think James Blunt did anything wrong. I've not seen any proof. All right? I don't want to get sued. Saying Justin Long's always at the scene of the crime. These are unverified Reddit comments, right? Wait, what don't I know about Justin Long? Oh boy, I don't want to get in trouble. You know who else was there? Jonah Hill. These are all unconfirmed Reddit rumors. I don't condone or back up these claims. It said, oh, you mean Jonah Hill, the guy that took a picture of a woman giving birth on a park Pension Central Park, then posted them online while saying some shit about the miracle of life. The same Jonah Hill who told his pro surfer girlfriend she couldn't talk to men or wear bikinis. The same Jonah Hill was at a party filled with creepers and R-words. Well, I'll be damned. I never would have guessed. Well, I'm hearing Jonah Hill is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master and would fuck everyone up. So I don't believe it. I couldn't possibly believe any of this. I couldn't possibly. Another friend of Leo. Oh boy, how they bringing Leo into it? Oh my God. All right. Somebody. These are unconfirmed reports. All right. These are just. This could be absolutely made up stuff on Reddit. Someone on Reddit that's absolutely unconfirmed says Jonah Hill harassed me when I turned 17. I had to suppress that for years until his ex-girlfriend finally came out about him. It was seriously so hard to have so many people around you celebrate someone who completely degraded you in public. Look, I can't confirm the veracity of these. Are just random. Anybody can write these comments on Reddit, so I don't know for sure the truth of these allegations. Somebody needs to investigate these themselves. If you want to sue anyone, Jonah, you can check out the Redditors that are putting this stuff out there. I don't know. All right. Senator Alexa Nicholas said that he hosted the party at which she was assaulted by Jonah Hill. So this is a BuzzFeed news article. I'm not saying this. I didn't do the research on this, but this is just a headline saying Alexa Nicholas said she'd been assaulted by so many times in the industry. It was pretty normal when Jonah Hill allegedly forced himself on her when she was 15. Is that why he's got so good at jiu-jitsu? Because he might get beaten up by a guy that's stopping him from doing this type of thing. I don't know. These are all just rumors, all right? This is just a BuzzFeed article. I'm not suggesting that this is 100% true. I really don't know. I'm just reading the public rumors. I'm not responsible for these third-party comments. This is a quote that says, it was really intense. I just remember being startled and kind of grossed out. I tried to push him away, Alexa said of the alleged encounter at Justin Long's house. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, this isn't a video about Jonah Hill, so we're not going to get into... There's a lot of Jonah Hill talk on here. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of Jonah Hill talk on here. I don't know. All right. I don't want him to sue me or come at me with a Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This is crazy. I'm not going to lie. This thread is out of control. This thread is a defamation lawyer's absolute wet dream. They're saying, I know Hayden can't name names for libel or whatever, but the speculation is going to be rough for middle-aged rockers now. They're saying, is it libel if it's true? It says, if your name is Johnny Depp, then yes, apparently they bring Johnny Depp into this. All right. I don't know the full story with Johnny Depp. I need to educate myself on that one. People are saying these are just random people on Reddit giving their opinions that are completely, but we're not necessarily backed up by fact. But someone's saying, I'm saying James Blunt T. All right. I never liked his music. His voice irritates me. He wrote, your body is a wonderland. That's weird. Very, very interesting. Okay, a couple of British musicians in their early 50s I can think of right now. Could be a bunch of different people. It could be. I thought she said it was a critically acclaimed Oscar-winning actor-director. Was that not true? Apparently, it was not true. 2 different individuals, 2 different encounters with creeps. This one's been removed. Or this one was false. I don't know. There could easily be a lot of misinformation circulating. Okay, so I don't want you to take any of what was said in this video or these Reddit comments as facts. Okay, you should go and do your own research. They're saying this was a man who exposed himself to her at a party when she was 19. I wonder who that was, to be honest with you. I'm very curious to know who that was. Wow. What's this? A Mirror article about James Blunt. James Blunt makes sharp move on Hayden Panettiere. What? This isn't the Mirror. You might need to sue the Mirror too. They've only been together for a nanosecond. We're already detecting trouble in paradise for T4 man bike Steve Jones and his hero squeeze. Hayden Panettiere. This is 2009. They've only been together for a nanosecond. I'm detecting trouble in paradise for T4 man bike Steve Jones and his hero squeeze Hayden Panettiere. The pair were spotted cavorting in Cannes on David Furnish's boat. When Steve flew home on Wednesday, Hayden really let her hair down and not by herself. The blonde struck up a friendship with James Blunt at the Sharon Stone hosted AMFAR charity bash, and they were described as being all over each other. The mole reveals they were glued in conversation, then disappeared for some time together. There was an instant connection. How does Blunty do it? I don't know how Blunty does it. All right. I don't know how Blunty does it. Does someone do it for Blunt? I don't know. I really don't know. All right. But listen, the Mirror might need a lawsuit too. Someone's saying, can someone give me a detailed explanation on Diana Jenkins' law? I'm watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for the first time all the way through right now in the middle of season 12. So ironically, I'm meeting Diana Jenkins all at the same time as the drama coming out about Hayden Panettiere. I've tried scouring the sub, but can someone tell me all the theories and conspiracies surrounding her? I know she was supposedly a madam with a sketchy rise to money, but apparently her book is a cover for a high-end escort service. I need all the tea. I cannot confirm these allegations, okay? She sued people before. She's had it in her to take people all the way for defamation, so I can't, I really don't want to get sued for defamation. I'm not saying these things. I don't know if these things are true. I'm potentially thinking these things are false, but I just want to see what people are saying. Saying the Hayden rumor started about 20 years ago in the blog Crazy Days and Nights that she had been trafficked, likely with the assistance of her disgusting mother. There were also blind items about someone trafficking starlets in the Hollywood sex trade who was clearly Diana. This is all very murky, but it seems to be very much an insider without a lot of clear reasons why. The rumors are she trades in trafficking, likely to blackmail A-list Hollywood people like George Clooney. These rumors have been swirling around forever. I have no idea if they're true or not, and I don't either. All right, I'm leaning towards not true. To definitely don't want to I don't want to defame anyone. But this is all out there publicly. So at the end of the day, this is part of the public conversation. But this is what this is about. I was shocked when I saw that she was going to be on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because even if untrue, being on the show would stir everything up again, which it did. All right. So people are saying where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know. Sometimes where there's smoke, there's not fire. There's just someone smoking a cigarette, rubbing their hands together like Birdman. Okay, so someone says, I did a deep dive last year. There's a lot of info on Reddit if you search, because I read it. Having said that, she's from the former Yugoslavia. She moved to the UK and was an escort, met a banking executive who married her. They met at the gym. They were together for the obligatory period of time, such that she became quite wealthy following the divorce. She moved to California, focused on her philanthropic work, aka her own shit charities, which she leverages for fame in an effort to rub elbows with celebs. The book thing, she was a Ghislaine. Who knows if that's true, all right? Who knows if that's true? I'm leaning towards it not being true, so I don't get sued. All right, let's just stay out of it, I think. Let's just stay out of it. So let's trace back where some of these rumors, which are unsubstantiated at this point, trace back to. So some of this can be traced back to this kind of 2012 post, okay, that's been archived. And again, an anonymous user responded to a blind item about Hayden and told people to look into Diana Jenkins and her celebrity photography book, Room 23, which we've kind of heard mentioned before, okay? So again, I'm not telling you that this is true, but what I am telling you is this is probably like ground zero for some of these rumors. It says, Crazy Days and Nights, today's blind items. This former B-list television actress who was on a really big hit network show just a couple of years ago now seems to float mindlessly and flip between boyfriends. She comes from an abusive home, a broken and abusive home. Her dad used to beat her and get into bed with her. Her mom let it happen because she was being beaten herself and didn't want to provoke. Well, now the actress, who is still very young, only seems to date boyfriends who are abusive and willing to hit her. Her last boyfriend, former A-list athlete with B-list name recognition, was so scared that he would kill her, he broke up with her. What? Her new celebrity boyfriend doesn't punch nearly as hard, but seems to love it. Whoever wrote this is awful, to be honest. Like, the way that they're kind of taking glee in this woman's fear is just disgusting, honestly. So probably getting out his anger because he's closeted. It said a lot of people thought it was Hayden Panettiere. Then came this post, part 1. Okay, folks, here it goes. Excuse the spelling. I'm on an iPhone without spell check. First, sorry for unleashing all of this. Second, I'm not judging this young lady. Just saying that help is there for all of us if we accept it and want to help ourselves. And third, if this blind item hits and spreads through the web far and wide and rapidly, I may have to remove this comment. It can cause problems I cannot explain right now. Don't want trouble for NT, so don't be shocked if the whole item and or my comment gets erased to avoid trouble. So here it goes. Yes, this is Hayden. 100% totally. I know this for a fact. I'm not saying it, but this random nameless person on the internet is saying it. The wording of the item is not 100% correct, which may be intentional to deny it legally, but it's close. But there's far more to this than's being mentioned, revealed, or even hinted at. For all of you Google sleuths out there, just look up the past news stories about her dad getting arrested on domestic issues, then her mum dropping it. It's not just about a fight, smack, or basic domestic issues. It's about sexual perversions, videotapes, witnesses, and the loss of money and fame. I'm a former personal friend of a woman named Diana Jenkins. Diana Jenkins got to find out who wrote this blind item and sue them, okay? Just leave me out of it, okay? I'm letting you know where this rumor, possibly baseless, started. So I doubt you know her. She's the Rosetta Stone of every scandal and perversion in Hollywood all over the globe. I'm not going to lie to you, like, that's quite a tall tale. Like, that's quite a bold claim. Like, if any of this is true is one thing, but, like, being the Rosetta Stone of every scandal all over the globe is, like, we're getting a little bit ridiculous now. She's an uber wealthy divorcee whose hubby run UK Barclays Bank. Then she ran the Arab investors for the bank. She's been running a high class cool girl party ring for Arabs, Wall Street, DC Royals, and Hollywood elites. She Forrest Gump of this shit. Like, I'm sorry, but like, this is getting a little bit to become a tall tale. I'm not sure I can believe all of this. She's also a major philanthropist, art supporter, political donor, social hostess to everyone. Her best Hollywood pals include Sean Penn, Clive Davis, Ari Emanuel, George Clooney, Cindy Crawford, and her little pet named Hayden. This is dark. Diana is the connector of wealthy Arabs, Asians, and athletes with Hollywood actress and models. She's also a sick and twisted bitch. When Hayden and her own mommy went on the outs, Diana Jenkins took that place in her life by Hayden's choice. Leslie P is not just a poor victim in this train wreck. Trust me, she's at least 50% responsible, if not more, for encouraging, enabling, and at times even participating in her hubby's twisted effing life. These are some very bold claims, which I'm not seeing any evidence for so far. It says Leslie's kinks cross into the line of depravity, illegality, and inhuman sickness, as in Ryan O'Neal, John Phillips, Tish Cyrus, Dan Schneider territory. Far worse than Pimper Joe Simpson. I'll be real, I don't know any of these names. I can't give you any backstory on any of these people. I'm not making any claims about these people at all. It said she's not just had chances to stop it or walk away with the kids, but she's elected to not protect her kids and give in to the hedonistic sickness in her bedroom, all for her own greed. You think Dina Lohan is bad? Leslie's guilt is compounded by trying to save her daughter's image so as not affecting her earning potential and hoovering her own mountain of drugs, booze, fame, and fucking of everything with legs. Leslie is as bad as her hubby, maybe worse, because she knew it was wrong and didn't stop at times fueling it. This is just outrageous. It's easy to argue Hayden is forever a victim, which drives her own insane life choices, and I'm not a psychologist, but she's taken it further into becoming a willing perpetuator of it and saying she loves it. That's not just the physical and mental violence she enjoys, but her insatiable appetite for the most bizarre stuff she can indulge in to top herself. She was offered help by someone who genuinely cared for her and worried for her. She mocked them and tore off on her own streak. Now she craves it and considers nothing taboo. Nothing, just ask Mario Lopez, right, NT? Why are you bringing Mario Lopez into this? Now, look, I could easily just believe that these are the ravings of a lunatic. It's very easy to say stuff like this when you've got absolutely no oversight, no journalistic oversight, you know what I'm saying? No one looking over your shoulder. But it's very, very interesting. So here's a kind of part two. And again, I'm not condoning or supporting any of the things said here as facts. This is just giving you some backstory as to how this rumor started and the unsubstantiated claims that have been made in social media. It says, continued, 3:18 p.m. Said, part two. There is never any excuse for inflicting sick acts upon a young'un. Oh, no, we're not going to get into this. The stuff all begun in Hayden's teen years, and her mum was as much of it as her dad. Leslie was idea of a fun time was a coke-fueled O-word with two young studs and ye relatives, let's say. Leslie preyed on Hayden's boyfriends. Hayden preyed on 40 to 60-year-old producers, directors, agents, studio bosses, male and female, even offering one of them an in-home party he'd never forget before she was age 19. Now, does that mean 18 or does that mean younger? I don't know. But again, the idea of somebody young preying on these older men is ridiculous. Like this is beginning to get into like victim blaming, and that sort of thing makes me not believe this. But hey ho. Okay, this is just a bunch of stuff that's floating around on the internet that we can't confirm or deny. Meanwhile, dear old dad with his own substance abuse issues made sure to tape everything in the house, including Hayden's girlfriend's sleepovers, quality time in the family jacuzzi pool. When some of her girlfriends complained their parents forbid them from ever going to the house again and threatened charges, then in return, Hayden would snub them out the circle. So if you wanted to go to the club, shopping, swag, live the high life, you didn't rat out Hayden's sick family life, because after all, everyone wants to be famous, right? Everyone wants to be a celebrity or a BFF or hanger-on, right? Well, no, actually, not everybody wants to do that stuff, to be honest with you. Not everyone. So sorry to unload all this stuff at once. I'm sorry, I'm just sick and tired of this, and parents who are so effed up, they mess up their kids. My family was not Ozzy or Harriet. It damn near killed me and destroyed everyone I loved and my pathetic career as a result. But when I realized it was time to take charge and stop the cycle, stop blaming my dad and be my own person, my life turned around with the help of my amazing life and some real friends that love me. I just wished others could do the same for themselves. P.S. I have no issue with anything people voluntarily do in their private life as long as it's with consenting adults. Kids and animals can't consent. And not hurting another mentally or physically. I'm no saint, especially in my youth, but I am closed those days, lol. And all I'll say about another topic, I'm not a cross-dresser. What? My wife happens to collect vintage clothing. It's tough to surprise her when you share a home and office, but I do admit I look good in pumps and a dress. Whoever's writing this, I just like is a little bit disconnected from reality, to be honest with you. So I'm finding it hard to believe. But it says, for all of you true diehard Hollywood underworld detectives, find all you can about the notorious lady named Saniela Diana Jenkins, the ex-British socialite from the Balkans. Read British media stories about her divorce and ignore the PR fluff about her rags to riches story. Then look at her pics with all her pals and who she's with. Connect the dots to all the blinds that you know. Also, look at a photo book called Room 23, filled with Hollywood stars that Diana produced. Look closely at the list of stars who took part in that project. She is the hub on the blind gossip wheel and the Rosetta Stone of socialite dirt. Good luck. So that's where this is where this all started, okay? And these are all allegations. These are all people's opinions. My opinion is that I'm not fully convinced just by this. All right, I think I would need to see more to actually feel like there was any truth to this. And I'm not sure we're ever going to really get much more at this stage. But anyway, back to Hayden. There was kind of some quite interesting details about her death, which some people are kind of thinking might be might be very interesting for everybody. Okay, so this page is an absolute horror show. I'm not going to lie to you. It says Hayden Panettiere suffered apparent OD, was unresponsive as advanced life support was administered before death. She died in South Carolina. This page sucks. Hang on. Let me just clean this up. Clean up the streets real quick. People magazine sucks. New details have been revealed about the last moments of Hayden Panettiere's life. Police officers and emergency medical staff responded to response of an unresponsive female, later identified as 36-year-old Panettiere, at a residence in Greenville, South Carolina at 1:51 p.m. local time, Sunday, August the 16th. According to dispatch audio obtained by People, officials were heard discussing an OD, a cardiac arrest, around the time of Panettiere's death. The local police department and the coroner's office are leading the investigation into her death. I would like to hear more information about that. It says the preliminary investigation has not indicated any signs of foul play or suspicious circumstances. A spokesperson for the Greenville Police Department said in a statement obtained by People, an acquaintance of Miss Panettiere placed the 911 call. August 17th, the coroner's office shared an update about what happened when the authorities answered. They arrived on the scene. They located her in cardiac arrest. EMS personnel initiated advanced cardiac life support measures, but resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful, and she was pronounced deceased at 2:32 p.m. So the individual was identified as Panettiere, who was found unresponsive inside the residence where she had been temporarily staying. The statement also said the autopsy was completed on Monday. There was no signs of trauma, and this page is awful. There was no sign of trauma that would have contributed to her death. The cause and manner of death remain pending further investigation and the completion of additional studies. The investigation remains active and ongoing. No further details are available for release at this time. Apparently, Narcan was found at the scene. This was a treatment designed to rapidly reverse the effects of a life-threatening opioid emergency. I'm not seeing any evidence that she was murdered, but obviously it is a little bit suspicious with the timing. But sometimes people are dealing with substance issues that you don't even know about. Okay, very, very sad. Oh wow, she had her 11-year-old daughter was with former fiance Vladimir Klitschko, who's the boxing champion, the Ukrainian, a legend of the game, really. So that's actually really, really interesting. And condolences to him, because that's just so tragic that his daughter has lost her mother there. So Hayden's ex-boyfriend had a very strange reaction to the death. They're saying that this was her ex, Brian Hickerson, talking about their relationship months before her death. And some people are saying this is a bit sus.
You and Hayden first started dating in 2018, and it's been a very public relationship. Is there anything you want people to know about you and Hayden's relationship?
Hayden Panettiere is the sweetest thing in the world. It's not about who you spend Saturday night with. It's who you spend all day Sunday with. And Hayden Panettiere is a Sunday girl.
Do you think it's better for her to not be with you?
I think that Hayden is one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life, and I would be an idiot not to walk away from her and let her flourish in her career. So we probably wouldn't be good together. I'd like to see what she's going to do with the next 30 years of her career. And she's, she'll always hold a special place in my heart, and I hope the same for her. But we're just good buddies.
So it is a little bit weird, okay? So that's her ex, apparently. And apparently, the way he was talking is super weird. I'm not going to lie to you. So apparently, Brian Hickerson and his brother Zach were at the scene. Okay, this has been going around. This is in the death investigation. Yeah, people saying the autopsy showed no signs of trauma. So the brother Zach is allegedly a preacher, lives and works in LA and Nashville. Brian is a failed actor who lives and works in LA and South Carolina. How did they get into Aiden's inner circle? How are they funding the LA lifestyle? Something doesn't add up. Saying parasites are very adept at finding a way to infect a host, right? I don't know about all of that. But yeah, basically, it's just a bit weird. It's just weird. I'm not saying anything went down. It says the boyfriend apparently has a former DV charge. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, it says Hayden and him would drink at my former girlfriend's bar in town. They would both get very sloppy, and everyone knew he abused her physically. He's a massive piece of shit. The story is so sad. I need to see some evidence of that. I don't want to get sued by anybody. All right, but yeah. This says that she mentioned that she met him in a Hollywood bar in 2019. She was attracted to his smile. His mugshot is online. He's a POS. Wow. A pastor with a DV charge. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. They're saying, is it true? Rumors say fentanyl. So it might be a stretch, but with her having published a book detailing Brian's abuse, it's not out the question he would find. Nah. I'm not making that claim, but look, people out here are saying that there's some kind of... Fentanyl is a big problem no matter what. People think that they're taking something and you end up getting hit with the fent. Just so you know, this is a more official news source from ABC7 that Brian was at the scene when she died. It said Hickerson showed the officer a bag of medication Panettiere was allegedly on. So him and the brother Zach were present at the apartment at the time of her death. Said the patient didn't seem to have any obvious physical reasons to be unresponsive. EMS couldn't save her. The officer said they wrote in the report. They spoke with Brian and his brother Zach, who were also on the scene. EMS was working the patient. Zach Hickerson described Panettiere as his brother's girlfriend. So we thought X, but then apparently they were together. That might have been an old TMZ clip. It says, I observed Zach to be very emotional while EMS were working on Hayden. Brian didn't become emotional until EMS declared her officially deceased. Medic 24 and S4 were on the scene performing life-saving measures. Yeah, that's sad. Vladimir Klitschko posted a picture of them all together on social media. This is so sad. This was his statement. He said, our family is going through a time of profound shock and grief. The announcement of Hayden's tragic death saddens me deeply. She left the world far too soon. Hayden was, although no longer my partner, an important part of my life and the mother of our child, our daughter Kaya. She built an incredible career through immense talent while also facing the darker sides of a very demanding industry. Nothing will erase the times that we shared or the place that she had in our lives. To our daughter Kaya, I will always speak of her mother with respect to make sure she remembers the person she was. I extend my deepest condolences to Hayden's parents, her friends, her fans who are also grieving today. Young and talented people like Hayden should not leave this world so soon. I ask everyone to please respect our family's feeling and privacy during this incredibly difficult time. For now, this is all I wish to say. Thank you for everyone who's supporting the family and expressing their sincere condolences. Rest easy, Hayden. May you find eternal peace. Something is very weird about this, but I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, right? Everything in this video has just been alleged. These are public theories going around. You know, I can't confirm the authenticity of any third-party reports, opinions. This is mainly opinion, and just a tragic death. Rest in peace to Hayden Panettiere, and you know, it just is horrible to see the awful stuff that allegedly goes on in Hollywood. And I truly hope that some of the more wild theories we heard in this video aren't true and that this was just a horrible accident. But I'm sure we will find out, and I'll keep you guys posted when I do hear more news. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching this video, and rest in peace.